So, who owns what in the field of AI as it relates to voice copyright? Welcome and thank you so much for being with me today. You are now tuned into the Universal Leadership course, where we're going to bridge integrity and morality within the human experience and the AI model. So, today we're going to help you understand the legal side of AI voice copyright. Now, I'm not an attorney, but I have done major research on this topic of AI, and I'm going to share that with you today. So, AI voice copyright. Now, if you have ever written a book, a business pitch, or anything in real life, you understand that you officially own what you have labeled as yours. It is human relatable. Now, AI is an open industry portal that is launching laws and rules right as we speak for areas such as voice copyrights. That's what we're going to talk about. I have been voice authenticated with YouTube, TikTok, and other apps since early 2000s. So my voice is copywritten to be authenticated by who I am. But what about those just starting out? Today, we're going to be sharing some things to consider about AI, such as the statistical percentage of what you need to do to own your content. I always remember this rule, and I took it from college. Plagiarism. You use 75% your your studies and your perspectives and 25% AI assistance. So that means you have to have something in place. You're already thinking, you already have a topic, you're just using AI to do grammar checks and spell checks and different things like that, right? So let's get right into Universal Leadership Course 103 for those who are here. Thank you so much for being here. So, in the United States of America, raw AI generated voices cannot be copywritten at this time because US requires a human author to copyright protection. So, that means you have to send a certain item to the US Copyright or Patent Office and say, this is yours authentically. But when you are with AI, it can't be authentically yours because AI is using its prompts, teleprompters, and different areas that help build whatever it is you're branding, such as an audiobook, such as studio voiceovers, and different things like that. So the unauthorized use of a voice, whether real or simulated by AI, can lead to legal issues related to the right of publicity and licensing agreement. So right now, everything is so stuck because nobody knows what laws are going to be until people start infringing upon them. This is a new area of existence, and everyone is just trying their hands at certain things. But being mindful of what you do today is going to help with the key legal distinctions in the future. So let's look at copyright law as far as property. This law is going to protect original human created works that are fixed in a tangible medium. So that means you've done 75 to 85% of the work, and AI is just used for its idea. You're not using AI for concepts to where you can say this is specifically all of your work because you speak it or because you've done research. Now, even in doing research, I really would widely suggest that it is important to put your own terminology, your own words, study it, critique it with a script or whatever. But to pull something off of Chat GPT or to pull something out off of Google and call it yours and plug in everything that they say, 75% you're not going to own any credits to it. So then when YouTube finds out, then here comes the algorithm, copywriting, and all that work you've done has been done in vain. So you have to have your own key idea before you start to work on the generated copyright opportunities through AI. Also, AI generated voices. They're sound files created purely by an AI without sufficient human creative input is going to generally consider to be public domain. So even though you think it's yours, you're not going to get the benefit and kickback and credit for it being yours because you have not engineered it to be yours. So that's something to consider. And I've learned that through audiobook critiquing, voice analytics, and algorithm databases from YouTube because they're going to figure out the match. And whoever was there first on that idea, concept, or creative content, that's going to be the copyright owner as of right now. But where they got the information from is going to be up for debate, legal debate. Now, human assisted creation. If a human significantly modifies, arranges, or combines AI generated audio with their own original creative content, like writing an original script, like I said, the human contributions may be copyrightable, but the raw AI portion remains unprotected. So I remember starting my YouTube channel really early in the late 90s, early 2000s. And what I realized was that it would say, this is public use. So even though it was my work, it was still public use because of the fact that it had no copyright patent to it. My voice hadn't yet got authenticated. But then through authentication programs such as, if you are authenticated through a two-factor document on your phone or something like that, it tracks the data. And that is what saves people from public use versus protection. So my voice is now protected because I've done enough online presence work in order to make this protectable. Also, training data. Using copyrighted materials such as existing song recordings or audiobooks to train AI models without permission is considered copyright infringement by the AI developers. Now, that's saying if you go to a third party such as Prism Live, StreamYard, YouTube, TikTok, and you use somebody else's written work, back in the day, you could do it. You would receive the data necessary that if you changed it up enough, it would not be copyrightable. Like, you know what I mean? It would still be public use and anybody and everybody could use it. But today, everything is getting streamlined through AI to whereas you're going to hear the voice, you're going to know who that is. AI is going to pick it up and recognize it. Meta is going to pick it up and recognize it eventually. So it's very important to be unique, to be, creative as a content creator, because like I said, you can go and do all this personalized work and all critiquing your scripts, and it can be actually yours. But because you're on a platform that's AI rated, it's going to make sure that AI gets that credit, okay, which makes it public use. Now, a lot of things when AI helps you write grammatically or it helps you write authentically, meaning that to put narration to your voice, to put audio overlays to your voice, if you use AI, it's going to recognize that it is not you authentically. And that's something I want you to think about as these years move forward and developers become smarter at how AI is going to be generated in the end. Now, let's look at the right of publicity, the personal rights. So, you have a separate area of the state law that protects an individual's right to control the commercial use of their own name, image, likeness, which includes their distinctive voice. And then you have impersonation, using an AI to clone a real person's distinctive voice, especially a celebrity's voice, for commercial purposes without their consent, is a violation of their right to publicity and can lead to lawsuits. So be very, very careful. If you snag Snoop Dogg's voice from an AI platform generated project and you put your information on it and then you put it on your unique channel, you have to make sure that Snoop Dogg has given you permission to use his voice in order to promote whatever you're doing, whether it's a commercial, whether it is a podcast, whether it is a digital audio version of something that you've created and it's all 100% authentically yours. A good example of a lawsuit is Midler versus Ford Motor Company and Waits versus Frito-Lay Incorporated. And what happens is the misrepresentation of using a voice for a commercial, it is not the owner's ability to use that if the individual has not been compensated or have given permission for, I don't care how big the corporation is, how big the organization is, according to the laws that are focused on right this moment. That's what we need to understand. And it's called deep fakes and misrepresentation, using AI voices to create deceptive content, spread misinformation, or impersonate someone in a misleading way can lead to significant legal and ethical issues. The US FCC has also ruled that AI generated voices in cold calls are subject to strict regulations requiring prior express consent. So, the best practice to use is for the voice AI copyright is to avoid legal issues by creating a business ethical standing, which is use license that allows you to provide commercial license for generic or authentic voice. And I just did that. The audiobook is authentically my voice, but I have a license to be able to say that this is mine. Also, obtain consent. If you have an AI voice and it's based on a real person, secure explicit written permission dealing with how, where, and for how long the voice can be used. Be real transparent, disclose everything within the AI generated voice of the consent, and have a contract signed. If it's done for advertising, political, messaging, or commerce of any kind. And then create original content. Ensure that you own the rights to the underlying script or the content being voiced by the AI. So some people are now just dabbling into this. This is a real crucial time for the world because this is a new concept, just like the .com times. You know, it was open that you could email the world without writing a whole letter and putting it in the mailbox, and 7 to 10 days it'll move. But now it's different. That is the significance and beauty behind technology. But it's what happens in that technology that I want you to really pay attention to, because you may be a first time content creator and you may have something so unique that you give to the world. But because you did not know what it was all about and how the authenticity is very vital to what you submit out before you go digital, you can lose your rights for commercial use to make money off of your content because it wasn't copywritten and that it is known as public use. So anyone can take it. So this is what I want this Universal Leadership 103 to be about: how to protect yourself from the content that you're creating, because the niche that you're going to put out to the world, you want it to come back to you full 100%. Now, the problem with not having it copywritten is that you do the work. You're a first-time content creator. Your video goes viral and you don't get the credit. So that's something that I want you to think about. And if you want to start your own audio voice opportunity here online where you can be authenticated and originated and copywritten, give me an email at shinedarina@gmail.com, and I will help you assist with the local and legal laws that are both state, federal, and local for your jurisdiction so that you will know what rights you do have. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time.